Hello, welcome. Thanks so much for being here. So, today, in case you can't see, we're sitting right next to my books because actually, my apartment is very tiny. I do not have a lot of space. So, this is actually my whole physical TBR. I don't have any more books. I just don't have the space for them. I do have a few more books, like down there, but those are ones that I have read already. Today, I kind of want to talk about these books. I just want to go through each of them with you, basically in the hopes that it's gonna motivate me to read them because I tend to get a lot of books from my library, like ebooks usually, or I get an audiobook to listen to while I clean or cook or something. But I really enjoy reading physical books, so I don't know why I do it more because there are still like how many books are these? One, two, three, four. These are 15 books. Like I have 15 books that I want to read. Like that's still quite a lot. So actually I'm surprised that it's so many. But yeah, that's what this video is about today. So basically we're just gonna go through these books. I'm gonna talk about them a little bit and hopefully it's gonna motivate me to actually read them. So yeah, I guess let's start. So the first one, gotta be honest, it's not gonna be a book that I'm gonna read like in one sitting. And the book is called Only Dull People Are Brilliant at Breakfast. And I gotta be honest with this book, like you can see, it's very tiny. So you might think I could read that in like 5 minutes. But actually, in case you don't know this book, it's basically, I don't know how to describe it. I think I saw someone describe it as like if Oscar Wilde had Twitter, basically, because literally it feels like just a bunch of tweets. So basically, this book is just like random sentences, like it's usually one or two sentences, and then there's like space and then another two sentences, and they have nothing to do with each other. So it's literally just, I feel like Oscar Wilde just scribbling down a random thought he just had. And it's really fun to read, to be honest. I've already read a few of them, but I'm not gonna like read that in one sitting. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna read some of these, write something down if I think it's interesting. I actually also only had this as an ebook at first because I genuinely didn't know what it was gonna be. But then I realized, like I said, that it's literally just random bursts of thoughts that he wrote down, and I felt like I just wanted to annotate it. So I was actually very happy when I found a physical copy of it, and now I can just read every once in a while if I feel like it. And I think it's very fun, to be honest, but I'm not gonna finish it like in the next few days. Then we have White Nights, which I bought a few months ago because it was really, really cheap. And I had been wanting to read it for a while, but I also thought, well, it's really cheap. But I'm not gonna read that right now because I feel like that's a wintry book. So even though I bought it in like March, I'm not gonna read it until like October, maybe November, maybe December, who knows? But yeah, I'm very intrigued. I'm very excited to read it, but just not right now. Then the next one, maybe I should have started with the other side because these are all just like books that I'm not gonna like read. So the next one is a selection of just Emily Dickinson poems. Obviously, I'm not just gonna read that in like one sitting. I'm gonna be reading a poem every once in a while and enjoy it and think about it, but I'm not gonna fly through this and read every poem in like a few hours. And I also kind of bought this because I thought it was pretty. So there you go. So now we're actually gonna get to the books, like the actual physical books that I've been wanting to read. And the first one is The Dragon's Promise. Now, to be honest, in case you can't tell, I've already started this book. I'm almost halfway through because this is actually the second book in the series. The first book is called Six Crimson Cranes, and I devoured that book. I enjoyed that book so much. I loved it, so I immediately bought the second one and also another one in the series that we're gonna get to in a bit. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed the first one. So the first book is a retelling of, I don't know, the story kind of varies. Sometimes it's like the Seven Ravens or the Seven Swans or whatever, but this one is a retelling where it's six crimson cranes, and the book follows this girl. She's a princess, but then her brothers 6 of them, she has 6 of them, get cursed and turned into cranes. And she also kind of gets cursed so that no one can recognize her as the princess and she can't speak. And so she ends up going on this journey trying to find her brothers and trying to break the curse, which was, by the way, cast by their evil stepmother. That's basically also like the fairy tale that this is a retelling of. And I really, really enjoyed that book. It's also basically one of my 2 favorite fairy tales. So obviously, I'm gonna enjoy a retelling of it. So I had so much fun. And that's, I think, where this one kind of loses me, which is why I've already started it and haven't kept reading, because the first book follows this fairy tale and I really enjoyed that. But in this book, the plot just goes in such a different direction. Obviously, it's not going to follow the fairy tale anymore, so it's just going to get its own plot, I guess. And to be honest, it is an interesting plot, but for some reason it wasn't gripping me as much anymore. I don't know why. Like I said, it has been an interesting plot so far, actually, so I really don't know why I just haven't been able to commit. Why I just haven't been able to keep reading. And now it's been so long, I generally feel like I read this a year ago, maybe. So now it's been so long that I don't fully remember. Maybe I actually do remember. Then it's always like the question for me, should I keep reading from where I'm at right now or should I restart? But I don't think I want to restart. I feel so bad because I really I enjoyed the thought of the book, to be honest. I really like the world that this is set in and it's actually been really interesting. So I don't know why I haven't read it. So I feel like I really need to get back on this one. Also the cover, can we talk about this cover? I think it's so gorgeous. Also, the first one, I don't have it here right now because, like I said, I only have the books that I actually haven't read yet. So it's really pretty, and I love that. Then the next one we have here is Ariadne. If you can't tell, I really like retellings. So obviously, if you know Greek mythology, you know, I guess, Ariadne. So yeah, this is just a retelling of her story with the Minotaur and the labyrinth, if you know all that. And I also think the cover is gorgeous. Yes, I am a person that likes to buy books because of their covers. Not if they are bad books, though. I'm gonna buy a book if I think it sounds really cool and interesting and I also like the cover. Because, like I said, I am very selective about my book buying. So I'm not just gonna get a book because it has a pretty cover. But if the book has a really interesting plot and setting and a pretty cover, chances of me buying it are definitely higher than if it doesn't have a pretty cover, to be honest. Because, like I said, I can also read books in the library. So if I'm gonna get a book, it's gotta look pretty in my home. So the next book I actually got for Christmas, so it's also been a while. Still haven't read it. It actually hasn't been that long. Some books here I have had for 8 years, maybe. I feel like that's actually possible. Maybe 7 years, but it's very possible that they are this old. Anyways, this is Blue Sisters. It's also very popular right now, so I don't know. I just wanted to also read it, and I also think the cover is gorgeous. And I'm so sad because actually the German version has blue straight edges, and I personally am someone who loves straight edges, but I wanted to read it in the original language, so I got the English version, which is white. And I think I technically know what it's about, but let's just read what's on the back. And that's confusing. Anyways, let's read what's on the back. The Blue Sisters have always been exceptional and exceptionally different. Avery, a straight-laced lawyer living in London, is the typical eldest daughter, though she's hiding a secret that could undo her perfect life forever. Okay. Bonnie was a boxer, but following a devastating defeat, has been working as a bouncer in LA until a reckless act one night threatens to drive her out of the city. Damn, okay, this is dramatic. I genuinely didn't know that. And Lucy, the rebellious youngest, is a model in Paris whose hard partying ways are finally catching up with her. Then there was Nikki, the beloved fourth sister whose unexpected death left Avery, Bonnie, and Lucky? Oh, that's her name. Did I say Lucy? Oops. And Lucky reeling. When a year later the three of them reunite in New York to stop the sale of their childhood home, they find that only by returning to each other can they navigate their grief, addiction, and heartbreak and learn to fall in love with life again. Genuinely, that sounds so good. I don't know why I never read my physical books. Okay, I need to read this. I've also mostly just have heard great things about it, so I genuinely don't know why I have not read it yet. So yeah, and now the last book on like this part of my book stack, I guess. This is the book Her Radiant Curse. And if you feel like this looks familiar, this is also connected to the Six Crimson Cranes and the Dragon's Promise. So the book that I showed before. Apparently this is a prequel, I think. I don't know if you want to know because it might spoil the other book a little bit, or like the first one at least. So if you don't want to know anything, just skip this part. But if you don't care, I'm gonna talk about it now. So in this book, we actually follow the evil stepmother because it turns out, is she actually evil? We aren't really 100% sure. So this is basically her backstory. And I haven't read it yet because I wanted to read the other one first. So I'm actually very intrigued though, because I really enjoy villain origin stories, I guess. Although I'm not even sure if it's gonna be a villain origin story, because like I said in the first book, it's kind of left a little bit ambiguous whether she's actually still a bad person or not. So we really don't know. But yeah, I also love this cover. I think it's so pretty. I'm intrigued and I will have to read this, and I don't know why I'm not reading any of those books. Okay, now on to the next stack. So we're gonna have to remove these as well. So this book is called The White Tiger, and to be honest, I actually have no idea what this book is about because my aunt actually gifted it to me, I think on Christmas or something, and she just said that she thought that I might like it. So I genuinely just have no idea what it's about. So maybe let's read what it says on the back because I'm intrigued. I also think this cover is really cool and interesting. So it's got that going for it, but about the plot I have no idea. So let's see. Okay, it actually doesn't really say anything on the back. It's just like these, when people say dazzling, amazing, extraordinary, and then it just says like the person that said that. So let's see if it says something on the inside, maybe. Okay, so there's genuinely nothing in there. So I have no idea what this book is about. But it says winner of the Man Booker Prize 2008. Yeah, I I don't know what the book is about, but it looks cool. Maybe I should read it at some point in my life. This video is so random. Okay, so the next book is The Remains of the Day, and I've read a few books from this author before and I really enjoyed them. So I think my mom gifted me Never Let Me Go and this one a few years ago. When I say a few, I mean like 5 or 6. I did read Never Let Me Go immediately though, and I really, really, really enjoyed this book. I don't know why I haven't read this one yet, but yeah, I really liked all the books so far that I've read of this author, so I am gonna read it at some point. Now let's see if this has anything on the back. It's actually, there's not that much to be honest here either, but we're just gonna read that at least. A contemporary classic. The Remains of the Day is Kazuo Ishiguro's beautiful and haunting evocation of life between the wars in a great English house. In the summer of 1956, Stevens, the aging butler of Darlington Hall, embarks on a leisurely holiday that will take him deep into the countryside and into his past. That's all it says. So not a lot, but I don't know. Like I said, I really enjoyed the other books that I've read of his so far, so I am very intrigued. But yeah, so far, at least that I know, my mom also said she read this, and she also said it's like about a butler, and I was like, that tells me so much, mother, but thank you, I guess. I'm still intrigued and I do want to read it. Now the next one is another one that I have started and not finished. You can see again like halfway through, and yes, my bookmark is a bag for tissues. So sorry. But yeah, this book is called The Kite Runner, and like I said, you can tell I've already started it. With this one, it's definitely not that I was bored. It's that I was fucking traumatized. Because I remember I started this book a few years ago when I was at a different university, and I always had to take a train for about an hour to get to uni. So I would usually read a book on like the way there and then the way back home. And I was reading this one at some point, and I think it was just like very much wrong circumstances because you cannot read this book when you're in public. Like, genuinely, this book was very traumatizing. There are very traumatizing things. Like, it's basically about war and also a child. Like, the main character is a child in this war, which is not a fun thing to read about. And it was very traumatizing. And I think if you have read it, maybe you know, I stopped at like a very, very traumatizing part in the book when like the main character's best friend something happens, and I was trying very hard not to cry on the train in front of all these people, and I was really not feeling great. And after that, I stopped reading, and that was a few years ago. And I just couldn't get myself to keep going because it was really, really not fun. Very sad. Still a really good book. And I also want to read A Thousand Splendid Suns. I also have that, but not right now. So the next book is actually in German, but it's basically, I think in English it's called I Never Promised You a Rose Garden, which is like the exact same name. I just got it from my mother, so I think it's a little bit older, which I think maybe you can tell because the pages are very yellow, like they are not white anymore. So I actually do want to read the original version as well, but I thought if I have the German one, why not read that one, I guess. And I have also started this one. I don't even remember. Maybe I actually fully read the book. That's actually, oh no, okay. There's a bookmark in here. Okay. I feel like I made this bookmark when I was like 14 or something. That's what it's giving. The vibe is very Pinteresty, you know? But yeah, so apparently I started it. Like I said, could have been 14 back then, and this is also not an easy book because this, from what I remember, it talks about a woman who goes to a psychiatric hospital back in, I don't know, the 60s or when this was written, and she has schizophrenia, and so that's what the book is about. I don't really remember much more, but I did think it was very interesting, and I do still want to read it. And also, it's so thin. Maybe I should just like sit down tonight and read that, honestly, because like I said, I do also want to read it in English at some point, but since I have the book, I'm gonna read it in German. I'm very intrigued. I don't really know what to think about it, but I'm very intrigued. The next book I've also started before, and it's called A Winter's Promise. Now, genuinely, my relationship with this one is so confusing because when I tell you I've started this book like from the beginning a few times already, and I love the vibe. I really, really enjoy the vibe of this book because in this book we follow a girl, and in this world the earth has like, I don't know, shattered or something. It definitely like the earth has turned into different like floating islands like you can see on the cover, and she's from this one island, and basically every other island, like they aren't really connected, like they aren't really a community, but each island has its own community, and they don't really talk to each other much because it's also not easy to get from one island to the other one. But our main character, she gets, I guess, married off to one of the other islands and has to go there, even though she has never left her home, obviously. And she also has this little magic, so she can go through mirrors. So if she goes into one mirror, she can come out on the other side through a different one at a different place. And I really like the setting. I really like the writing actually, because the writing is very, I don't know how to say it, but very descriptive in like the way that they describe the cracking of the doors, and just like, I don't know, to me it really sets the scene. I love when you describe me the place as much as possible. A lot of people don't enjoy that. Like with Lord of the Rings, for example, everyone's like, stop talking about this tree. And I'm like, please keep talking about this tree. I want to know more. But yeah, with this one, it's similar. It's very descriptive. And I really like that. But the plot itself was actually boring to me. I remember that. It's been also a few years since I read it, so it's generally surprising that I still remember that. But the plot itself, I did not care about, which is why I stopped reading, even though, like, this part I've read. So we're pretty close to the end, and I still stopped reading because I didn't care about the plot. And I think there's like 5 books in this series. So I don't know. I do want to finish it, and again, I really like the cover. It's very pretty, but I don't know. I'm very conflicted about this one because I feel like this is very much a Ghibli type vibe, and I love these type of books. That's usually what I gravitate towards the most. So I feel like this should be right up my alley, which is usually not much plot, but actually a lot of like beautiful world description. Like I don't usually care that there isn't much plot, but for some reason with this one I was just bored. So, but I do kind of want to finish it. I don't know if I should finish it now though because I don't remember the beginning. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, the next we have Hidden Figures. And like I said, I'm a book cover person. I do not like that this is, I'm pretty sure, from the movie. I'm guessing. I don't like this book cover, but I think I bought it used because I usually tend to buy my books used because I think it's just better for the environment. If you don't know this book, I'm just gonna read what it says on the back. Genius has no race. Strength has no gender. Courage has no limit. The phenomenal true story of the black female mathematicians at NASA, whose calculations helped fuel some of America's greatest achievements in space. Before John Glenn orbited the Earth or Neil Armstrong walked on the moon, some of the brightest minds of their generation, known as human computers, used pencils and adding machines to calculate the numbers that would launch rockets and astronauts into space. Starting in World War II and moving through the Cold War and the space race, Hidden Figures is a powerful, revelatory tale of race, discrimination, and achievement in the modern world. Now a major motion picture, yeah, we know. I really want to read this book, and I also want to watch the movie, but I only want to watch it once I've read this book. But I'm very much a mood reader, and so far I just haven't been drawn towards this, even though apparently I haven't been drawn towards any of these books because they have been sitting here for a long time, and I still haven't read them. So maybe, I feel like maybe I'm gonna start small. Maybe I'm gonna start with this one because it's so thin, but we'll see. Okay, now we're almost finished. The next one is Little Fires Everywhere. I've also had this for a while. I know there's also a TV show, I think. I want to watch it only after I've read this book. I did start it once, but I literally, like, I'm on page 2, so it doesn't really count. I think I started it, but then something got available in my library, and I just always get stressed. When something is free in my library, I have to read that first because I only have like a limited amount of time to read it, and then I get stressed that I can't read anything else while I have the other book available. So that's why I just started it and stopped on page 2. But I'm sure I'm gonna like this a lot. I'm very intrigued. I'm pretty sure it's about this woman and her house burning down. And like it's, I think, maybe thriller-ish type book. I don't know. She's definitely trying to find out what happened. Let's read what it says on the back. In the placid, progressive suburb of Shaker Heights, everything is meticulously planned. From the colors of the houses to the successful lives its residents will go on to lead. And no one embodies the spirit more than Elena Richardson. Mia Warren, an enigmatic artist and single mother, arrives in this idyllic bubble with her teenage daughter Pearl and rents a house from the Richardsons. Soon Mia and Pearl become more than just tenants. All 4 Richardson children are drawn to the alluring mother-daughter pair, but Mia carries with her a disregard for the rules that threatens to upon this carefully ordered community. When the Richardsons' friends attempt to adopt a Chinese-American baby, a custody battle erupts that dramatically divides the town and puts Mia and Miss Richardson on opposing sides. Mrs. Richardson becomes determined to uncover the secrets in Mia's past, but her obsession will come at an unexpected and devastating cost to her own family and Mia's. Okay, it literally says nothing about the burning house, so now I'm confused. But I feel like I've also seen like ads for the TV show, and there's always something burning as well. I usually try to just leave as soon as I see something about it because I really don't like spoilers actually. I really like to go into my books knowing nothing. But yeah, I also want to read this book and we'll see when I get to it. Okay, so that brings us to the last book. The last book, which is On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. I've also started this book before, genuinely. I think that's why these books have been laying here for so long, because usually once I start a book, I finish it immediately. So these are all books that I have started before, but I just haven't finished. But I also don't want to DNF them. Like, I don't want to put them away and say that I haven't finished them, because these are all books that I still want to finish genuinely. And yeah, with this one, I think I was just too young when I read it, because I bought it, I think, when it came out, so like maybe 2019 or something. And Ocean Vuong just writes very poetry like, which makes sense, as he writes poetry as well. So obviously his books are gonna be in a similar writing style, I guess. Not obviously, but it just makes sense, you know? When I started, I really enjoyed the plot, but the writing style was just a little hard for me, especially as a non native speaker. So I just think I have to start again because now I'm older and my English hopefully has improved. But yeah, this one is also very pretty. And those are all the books. Although, wait, no. I still have some. Wait a second. Technically, I also still have this one. But yeah, I also started this one, and generally this is a book that I did want to DNF. So I didn't even put it up here so that I can read it again, like try again. I did not enjoy this book. I still feel like I kind of want to force myself through it though at some point, which is why I still have it and haven't like given it away or sold it, because I don't know, it's just it was such a popular book when it came out, and now there's like 3 or 4 of them. So I just wanted to read at least the first book just so that I know, so that I can be part of the discussion, part of the community. So yeah, Lightlark, I tried it. I didn't enjoy it. Maybe I'm gonna read it at some point, but probably not, which is why it's not even on my stack of books that I want to read. So I have 2 more, but they were on my bedside table because I'm reading them usually before bed or when I wake up in the morning. The first one is this one, The Courage to Be Disliked. I guess it's a self help book, because basically the way this book is trying to explain the self help stuff it talks about to you is that it's a philosopher talking to a student, and they have like a discussion about the stuff they want to talk about. And I am enjoying it so far. I'm not gonna finish that soon anytime either though, because I usually read like 5 pages maybe a day, and also not every day, just if I feel like it. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. And then the other one, which I actually just bought a few weeks ago, it's All About Love. I really have been wanting to read this for a while, and I started it a few days ago, and so far I'm really enjoying it. I don't really like how flappy it is. I know a lot of people enjoy that, and it makes reading without breaking the spine, which I also don't enjoy. I know I'm very much an aesthetic reader. I don't care. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. Breaking the spine feels like I would hurt someone, okay? Like it feels like cracking the neck of someone. So I can't do it, okay? But yeah, so that it's so flappy actually helps reading. And so far I think I've read 2 chapters, maybe. Yeah, I think I've read about 2 chapters. Like, I'm not that far into it yet, but this is also basically an essay, I guess, about love. And so you don't really tend to breeze through that either. So I just read like a few chapters and then I took a break and had to think about it. And now I haven't read it since because, like I said, I just needed a little time to let that sink in, and then I'm gonna keep going. But yeah, those 2 are on my nightstand. So they were not here, but they are still part of the books that I'm reading or want to read right now. Okay, so those were all the books that are on my physical TBR, I guess. I'm guessing for most people it's not that many because a lot of people have like this whole bookcase and I just don't have the space for that, like genuinely. I wish I could, but I can't. So these are most of my books. Like I said, I have a few down there, like Lightlark, for example. So a few that I've already read but haven't given away or don't want to give away. So yeah, I don't really have that many books, but those were all the books. And to be honest, talking about them just now actually made me more excited to read them again. So genuinely, this is why I made the video, and I'm very glad that, I mean, if it works, we're gonna see. If I'm actually gonna read them, we're gonna see. But I'm definitely more excited about them again than I was before. So yeah, and also if I've read some of these, I can give some away again and then I can buy new ones. So it's like a win-win if I read them. But yeah, I'm very excited to read them actually now, and I'm very glad that I made this video. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I'm very intrigued. Have you read any of these books? Especially, I feel like there were some typical, basic, popular, like book talk ones, but I feel like there were also a few that aren't as known and popular. So I'm very intrigued if you read them, what you thought about them, if you want to read any of them, and yeah, definitely let me know. I'm very excited. Thanks so much for being here. Bye!